And while it is a lot to cover, we hope that you're going to grab some value from it today, guys. So I'm just going to give it one more minute here to see if anyone else hops in, because as soon as I start screen sharing, I start missing people that are jumping into the waiting room, and I don't want anyone to miss. So I know that we had about, as I said, we had about 40 people that had signed up, and we're poking our way towards that. So I hope everyone's doing well. I know it's a weird time. I appreciate you guys making time today. Um, so one of the things I'm going to tell you, one of the things that we are not going to cover in this one, and I say that because I've also got Sasha on the line here with us, Sasha from Cats Cove. We're not going to cover the creative around advertising. What do I mean by the creative? I mean actually creating the ads. We're not going to cover all of that kind of stuff. Next week, Sasha is hosting a webinar, giving me a break, which I appreciate, but more importantly, I can't really talk about how to take better photos and things like that, whereas Sasha can. So Sasha's going to lead you through lots of tips and tricks that way, which are going to help you a lot with your creative. So what we're going to talk about is the background stuff, the stuff in behind today. We're going to talk about creating audiences and things like that. So I am going to get started. So thank you. Thanks everyone for joining us here. And I apologize for those of you that were early, because you get to hear this one more time. So here's what we're going to cover today, everybody. We're going to cover everything from how to start with boosting your posts on Facebook to how to start creating audiences to really narrow down your targeting. So how to really jump in and figure out who it is you want to talk to. And if you don't know who your audience is, I'm going to show you a couple of things that Facebook provides to help you do that as well. And we're going to move from there into Facebook Business Manager. If you don't know what Business Manager is, don't worry. I give you the steps on how to connect your business manager, or how to get set up with Business Manager if it is something that you really want to jump into that way, because that helps you create audiences and more targeted ads. And then we're going to get into retargeting using something called Facebook Pixel that you may or may not be aware of. So without further ado, let me start sharing my screen. I've got some of you up. I've got Sasha, Janice, and Cheryl. Can you see my screen? Is it now sharing screen? All right, I've got a thumbs up. Very good. Okay, advertising on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm going to minimize that even more. So now it's just Sasha. So Sasha, if I'm asking a question, you have to nod. All right. So guys, thanks again for joining us. What we're going to cover here is Facebook and Instagram advertising. There is a ton of information that we can go through here, and I want to make that very clear up front. This is not a catch-all. This is something that changes day by day. This is a let's get you started, or let's get you moving into the next phase of what you want to be able to do with your Facebook and Instagram advertising that way. So we're going to help you drive some sales through social is really the goal. So wherever it is that you happen to be selling, we want to start targeting people that may or may not know about you. Many of us have gotten online recently. Many of us are now functioning in the online world that way. And so we want to start targeting those people. We also really only want to target the people that you want to reach, right? We all know what a tire kicker is. We all know what somebody is that's spending some time, wasting our time potentially. And so we want to make sure that we can narrow down who the people are that we want to talk to that are going to spend money with us. Let's be crass about it, right? That's ultimately our goal here, guys. Before we get started, many of you know me, many of you don't. I see a lot of familiar faces who I've either known offline, pre-COVID, who I used to be able to see face-to-face, or who we've dealt with in a couple of webinars that way. So my name is Toby James. I am a digital service squad member for the York Region, City of Kawartha Lakes, Town of Perth, and Town of Carleton Place, Ontario. I am also the co-owner of Cats Cove Communications. Cats Cove Communications is a small marketing firm in Perth, Ontario. I, like you, am a small business owner. Guys, I say that so that you understand that I understand. The reason we started doing these webinars and putting them out for free, quite frankly, is because we get what's going on. We understand what it's like to have responsibility, family and employees and things like that, and all the stresses that come with it. As a small business owner, you will see there, that is our team. There is myself next to my lovely wife, Kathy, who's the one in the glasses. Rachel's in the middle, Bonnie in the pink, and Sasha, if you don't recognize her from her photo and her screen right now, is the one on the end that I think is taller than me, at least in that photo, right, Sasha? Ultimately, I'm also a dad. Those are our kids. That's Alex, my son, and Maggie, my daughter. On a completely personal note, Maggie taught herself to ride a bike yesterday. Taught herself. I want to make that very clear. She spent one moment with Dad holding onto the back of the seat. I went inside, and next thing I knew, she was pedaling down the driveway all by herself. So as much as I'm hoping to teach you guys something, maybe Maggie's the best person for stuff like that. So what do we do at Cats Cove? We do social media management, website design, copywriting, graphic design, branding, search engine optimization. These are the phrases that you may or may not be familiar with, things that we can help you with. This is often what somebody comes to you and asks in our neck of the woods anyway. Do you do this stuff? And Kathy and I have a little joke. The answer is yes, we do now, whenever you ask that, and then we try and figure it out. Really what we do at Cats Cove Communications, though, is we try and provide you with clarity and confidence. So really that's what today's about, guys, is just bear with me here. I'm just admitting a couple more people into the room. If you aren't clear and you aren't confident in your business and in your planning, you're not going to act. And really that's something that we want to ensure we can help with here. So the goal here is to take something that's pretty intimidating, Facebook advertising, and hopefully move it into a world where you're comfortable taking those first steps. This is an hour. You're not going to walk away from here being an expert. You're going to walk away from here trying something that you haven't tried before, hopefully. As Sasha said, any questions you have in the chat, please fire them in there. I will do my best to address them. If we don't address them here, we will address them afterwards or at the end. The more questions are in there to push that comment about Sasha being taller than me out of the chat window, the better. Okay, so your commitment, guys. I've told you what I want to do. I've told you what we're going to cover, and I want you to try some. So try one of these, okay? It's our handshake agreement here, right? There's a group of people applauding around the table there. We don't need a round of applause, but I want to know that you're going to try one of these tactics and let us know how you did. It could be something simple. The beauty of Facebook and Instagram advertising is it doesn't have to cost you much. So it can be something simple, and just let me know how successful you were. Because here's what we're going to teach you. All right, we're going to teach you how to run Facebook and Instagram ads to target new customers. Could be somebody local, could be a wider range with a very specific niche product that you might have. You may be an online business yourself, and so it doesn't really matter if they're local. Either way, we're going to teach you how to target some of those new customers. We're going to teach you not only how to do that, but how to create custom audiences based on how people are interacting with your pages. Facebook and this business manager platform that they have, it's quite remarkable what they allow you to do and the depth of knowledge that you can start chasing down with some of this. So we're going to actually work on creating audiences because don't get me wrong, the creative is important. What it looks like is important. What you say is important. But if I may, the part where most of us hang up is not what does it look like, but how do I target most people? Most of the times when I'm speaking with a small business owner, the conversation around how to target and what you are able to do with it is really what overwhelms people. So I really want to dive into audiences a little bit and start showing you some of the options that are available to you that way. Again, we're going to show some of the examples. What your job is going to be is to start playing with it and looking at what more you can do. We're also going to talk about Facebook Pixel. How to get started with it, but most importantly, it's going to be the step after you get started. So I'm going to address this now. We aren't going to show you how to install the Facebook Pixel. The reason why is because if I have 40 people that are going to watch this, I have 12 different web providers or CMSs, content management systems out there. So some of you are on WordPress, some are on Wix, some are on Weebly, Squarespace, so on and so forth. It's a little bit different with each of you. However, I will say this, it's very step by step. Facebook is very interested in you installing the Pixel, so it's very step by step. So if you're having trouble with it, our contact details are at the end, guys. Please reach out to us and please ask for help, and we will help you install the Facebook Pixel. What we're going to show you is the steps that we take after the Facebook Pixel, okay, and how to use it to really, really start retargeting. So quickly, you're all here because you want to learn how to advertise on social media, but let's talk about the why advertise on social media. It's going to increase your reach. It's going to lower your costs, your advertising costs. It's going to increase your efficiency because it's quite simple. You can take posts that you may have already been creating and use them as your ads. And you can really start to target your customers, okay? The question I get asked often is traditional versus social. Where do you go? Here are the things that I want you to think about and measure when you think about your traditional. And this is not to pay out or to speak ill of newspaper or radio or television or anything like that. I've said to many of you before, we are in the business of getting you attention. If radio happens to be the place that works for you, we've worked with many clients where that's where we drive them. We send them to radio because that's where their audience exists. However, when comparing traditional media and social media, these are the things to think about. Cost, can you track the results? What level of targeting? I say laser targeting because social media, if you want to talk to just 43-year-olds, you can talk to just 43-year-olds. The laser targeting you can do with social is remarkable. Can you guide your decisions with data? Okay, so can you really make decisions based on information? And how quickly can you do it, right? How quickly can you implement this? We're small business owners, I believe the majority of us, if not all of us that are here. So how quickly can you make that decision and actually implement what your plan is? These are the things I want you to think about, okay? Before we get into anyone familiar with Wish, I want to use a term that you might hear me use. It's called CPMs. So CPMs is basically your cost per 1,000 impressions, okay? So when we talk about cost in general, this is where social media really shines. Because a CPM, a cost per 1,000 impressions, so cost per reaching 1,000 people on social media, on average, right? And there's different studies, but on average is a couple bucks, $2.50. If you think about the cost with direct mail, you're looking at about $57 to reach 1,000 people. Some of you have sent out flyers, right? It costs a lot to send them out. It doesn't mean it's not effective. It means it costs more, right? And everything else exists somewhere in between. Newspaper and print print in general and radio and television all exists somewhere in the middle there. So if you hear me talk about a CPM, that's what we're looking for here. And that's what we're talking about. So if anyone here is familiar with Wish, and I know some of you are, frankly, I know some of you, and some of you have told me that your husband has a problem with Wish and that he keeps ordering stuff from Wish and stuff like that. Wish is an online shopping market, for lack of a better term. You may have seen the ads in your Facebook carousel, and Wish is currently valued at about $9 billion. It is the group of ads where you see it was a $2,500 watch that you can buy for $12. Too good to be true, but enough of us have tried it because they have hundreds of millions of monthly users constantly, and they are built entirely on the back of Facebook. This is where they made their sole investment, in Facebook carousel ads to get our attention. They did so because their CPMs, their ability to reach people, is significantly lower than elsewhere, okay? So real life examples from Cats Cove, and we'll look at this quickly later, but I want to put this stat up. So this is something, Sasha created a carousel early in this COVID-19 crisis on, I believe it was 10 things you could do to, that don't cost you a thing to help support a small business, right? And I threw $25 behind that. For the $25, we reached 5,000 people, okay? We got 173 post engagements. So what do post engagements mean? It means 173 people interacted with that carousel in some capacity. They saved it, they looked at it, they shared it, they just went through it and read it, which was really our entire goal at the time. It cost us 14 cents an engagement, okay? Which means that we had what Facebook calls a 2.22% result rate, which means that 2.22% of the people that we reached did something. Doesn't seem high, I know. Facebook considers anything over 1.5% a success, okay? I know that seems low, but think about what we're doing. We're cold calling. Think about how often you give that cold call when your phone rings, the time of day. Social media is the opportunity to reach these people and convert them at 2%. It's a pretty impressive thing. And here's the most important part. I didn't just share this with anybody. I shared this only and targeted only Facebook page admins. So only people like ourselves who had access to a Facebook page. Because let's be honest, that's who I wanted to reach. Cats Cove Communications. We work with other businesses. We're B2B. So for $25, I reached 5,000 potential business owners at 14 cents an engagement. It's a great investment. So that's a real example, guys, of how this works, okay? Before we get to Facebook Business Manager, what I want to do is I want to get here, and just one second. I have somebody else entering the room. Okay, so this is the example I was talking about, right? So we reached 5,000 people for 173 engagements for $25. This is the example. So guys, this is the beginning. Sorry, just admitting a couple more folks. So this is the beginning, and this is where most of us are comfortable. This is where most of us exist with regards to Facebook advertising. I get it, right? So this is just under manage page. You see up here on the left, right? It says Cats Cove Communications, just our Cats Cove page. And what I've done is I've clicked on Ad Center. So it's got all ads and audiences and everything like that. This is what most of us are used to seeing. This is not Business Manager. This is where we interact. And here's an example of some of the ads that we've run. And what I want to do here is I'm going to boost a post, frankly, right? So we're going to grab the post that's offering at the bottom here, because this is the phrasing that we always see, right? Our post is performing better than 85% of other posts on your page. Boost it to reach even more people. This is the way Facebook messages us. This is how they tell us, right? So we're going to boost this post because I want to go through some of the choices that we have here, because what often happens is we boost it, which is great, but we don't necessarily pay a lot of attention to who we're sending it to and who we're reaching and things like that, okay? So I'm going to, so right here, it says, what results would you like from this ad? Very important, guys, okay? So they wants to know, do I want to get more engagement or do I want to get more messages, right? Well, really, from my standpoint, I'm very interested in engagement. So I want people who are simply going to be engaging, liking, and sharing, interacting with our page, okay? So just admitting one person. Okay. So under button, this is literally what's my call to action? Do I want them to send me a message? Do I want them to book, to learn, to shop, to sign up, to send me a message on WhatsApp? What do I want to do? In this case, I'm actually going to say no button, because what I want people to do is I want them to share. This is not a call to action. This is not a sell. If you want somebody to go to your website or something like that, these are the places that you start to do it, right? Learn More can take them to the website. You can put the link for your website in behind Learn More. And this is where you can start to do that stuff, okay? So under audience, who should I choose through targeting? So we're going to edit my audience right now. So as you can say, it's right now it says living in Perth, Ontario, okay? 18 through 65. And we've got some detailed targeting that we can start playing with here under browse. And at the bottom, it will always tell you how many people you're reaching. Now, I don't know how many of us have really jumped in and played here. This is where it starts to get scary. This is where it really starts to get interesting with regards to how much Facebook knows about us. People often ask, it feels like, Toby, how does Facebook always know where I was or know what I've been looking at. They always seem to, it's always such a coincidence. I'm getting ads for things that I'm having conversations about. You may or may not be aware of this. If you have the Facebook Messenger app on your phone, and you, I'm guessing like many of us, didn't read the terms when you installed it on your phone, you gave them permission to read your emails, your text messages, and frankly, turn on your microphone. Now, it doesn't mean there's somebody there that's listening to you, but it does mean that they're picking up keywords. So when you say it's a coincidence, we were just talking about that. I can't believe I'm getting an ad for it. Might not be a coincidence. Those text message conversations you're having about that new pair of shoes, and suddenly you're getting ads for shoes. That's kind of how it works. Scary as a private citizen, and remarkably empowering as a business here. Okay, so I want to go through some of these things in here. So this is just under demographics, for example. So we can target people with certain education levels, right? We can target people, if you saw there quickly, schools and field of study. You just want to talk to people that have their masters in biology, you can do that. If that's who you're targeting, you can do that. All of these different education levels, financial situations. Now, everyone wants to know, how do you do this? You can really only do this in the US, okay? With regards to top 10% of zip codes. So if you want people that live in the affluent neighborhoods, that's what you can do. If you're targeting people down there, it's a great opportunity. Life events is really interesting. So I know in our group here, we have some people that do home decor and things like that. So if you're a newlywed, or if you've recently moved and you're now in the area, for example, so I can click recently moved and target people within 25 miles of where I currently am. Facebook knows that you're new to my area, and I know that you probably need to decorate. So that's a really important feature that way. Newlywed, right? Newly engaged, new relationships, new jobs. Again, all of these interesting indications. This is interesting. This is something that I'm always surprised I don't get. Upcoming birthday, or here's the other thing. Imagine being able to target friends of people who have a birthday coming up. So close friends of women with a birthday coming up in the next 7 to 30 days. So you could be running ads to these people saying, is there a lady in your life? Is there a special person in your life that has a birthday coming up that you haven't thought of yet? It's kind of scary, but super empowering to know that you can be targeting those things, right? Again, this is just all under demographics. Parents, if you want to target parents, I know that I had somebody I was talking to who wants to target, they're offering programming for 6 and under, for kids 6 and under. Well, guess what? You don't need to target the people that don't have kids. You don't need to spend your money there the way you do in traditional advertising. You can literally say, okay, I'll do 6 to 8, and I'll do 3 to 5, and I'll do parents with toddlers who are 1 to 2 years old. You can make sure that that's the only people that are getting this. Now, how does Facebook know this stuff? They're making some guesses. They're making some educated guesses, okay? If you haven't put that in, but frankly, you are putting up photos of your kids, Facebook can start to make those assumptions, right? Relationship status. I spoke with somebody a couple months ago who was running ads for a Valentine's Day promo, and unfortunately didn't know about this detailed targeting. So they were running a Valentine's Day promo probably to a bunch of people who weren't necessarily in relationships at the time. So again, unfortunately, it was money not necessarily well spent. They couldn't figure out why people weren't engaging with their post. Well, maybe this was it, because maybe what they needed to be doing was picking people that are married or in a relationship or engaged or in a domestic partnership and targeting those people. This is the basic stuff that when you boost a post, guys, this is why I want to start here, because for a lot of us, we just say, give me 50 miles of my area and let's go, which is great. It increases your brand awareness. It's fantastic. But if you're looking to really drop that CPM cost, really get down to $2 per 1,000 people that see you, this is one of the ways you want to do it. Work, right? You can talk to people that are in specific industries, right? So if you want to just talk to people that are in arts, entertainment, sports, media, construction, farming, fishing, and forestry, government employees. I mean, there's a real plethora of information here that you can start working with. And I want to point something out. This seems like the be all and end all, and yet all I've done is go through demographics. We haven't talked about interests or behaviors yet. Interests, look at this. Look at these drop-down menus. It's unbelievable. Shopping and fashion. Again, if we're retail right now and we want people who are interested in, and how do I know you're interested in? Well, it's what you interact with on Facebook. So under sports, how would Facebook know that I'm interested in golf? Well, I follow Golf Town. So they can make a pretty safe assumption that I'm somebody that's interested in golf. So if you're another golf store, that's how you target me. It's no wonder that I get ads for golf balls in my feed as a result, right? There's some really, really impressive stuff here. Great question, Marilyn. So when we're going to get in, Marilyn, to creating audiences, and this is where you can start to create audiences. So this is just some of the information that's available to you if you're doing one-off posts. If you really want to get into audience creation, that's what you're going to start doing, okay? So Marilyn was just asking the question in the chat, do we have to do this every time, right? And so that's something that we're going to talk about. So again, here, anniversaries within 61 to 90 days. Digital activities. So what does digital activities mean? I mean, if you care, it's operating system used. If I wanted to know about Facebook payments, for example, and I want to know who's been making payments, and by that, I can just assume that they're a business owner who's paying for things like that. We can do stuff like that. Primary email domain. You want to just target Gmail users? Target Gmail users, okay? Hotmail users. It's incredible what you have. So I mentioned at the beginning that we weren't going to talk about creative. Here's the thing. When you create the creative, when you create your ad or your post, if you're going to talk to, let's say, Gmail users in this example, folks, make sure you say, hey, Gmail users, right? It's going to spook me, but it's also going to target me. Really, really important that way. Okay. So this is all the stuff that's just in here under Boost, right? So if you don't want to get into Business Manager, if you don't want to get into any of that stuff, this is all under Boost. Can you choose too many? Absolutely, Julia. What you end up doing is you end up creating a situation where you're talking to fewer than 1,000 people, for example, and they're not going to be interested, or Facebook's going to say, listen, it's not worth your time. Okay, you're not going to make any headway doing it this way. And Marilyn, what you do here is you then save your audience and you go from there. And so you save it, you name it whatever you want it to be, and you can go from there. So you can do it this way, where you can create the audience and then save it and see how it works. Later on, we're going to show you how to create the audience ahead of time and try some different things that way. So this is the very simple version of it right here, guys. Boosting your simple ad that way. Play with your ages, your demographics, and all that kind of fun stuff. Okay, so that's what that starts with. So I'm going to close my audience dialog because that's all I was doing there is editing that audience, right? Okay. For those that are wondering, how do I get onto Facebook and Instagram? It's literally here. You can check this box for Instagram, and you can post that across to Instagram. Okay, it's if your accounts are tied together, then it's that simple. You can then start advertising on Instagram as well. Okay, so that's very quick how to get started there. I want to go back to something called Facebook Business Manager. So this is the next level, okay? And if all you ever do is what we just talked about, excellent, good for you. Because if that's all you need to do is target some local people that way, make sure you're doing it. Facebook Business Manager gives you access to all of these things though. Page posts, something called Commerce Manager, a catalog manager if you're running your online store, okay? Ads Manager and Events Manager, which are a couple of things we're going to get into, and Facebook Creator. So what Facebook Creator does is it's effectively your scheduling tools for Instagram and everything that way as well. So it's one place, if you're scheduling for that stuff, that you can go and do it all through Facebook Creator. Okay, so that's Facebook Business Manager. If you don't have it, head on over to that address, business.facebook.com, or Google Facebook Business Manager. It will come up. You go there, you should see the big blue button that appropriately says create account. You create your account, and you can start connecting your existing pages and profiles to your business manager account. Okay, it's really that simple to get started, guys. Okay, it's really that simple to get started with Facebook Business Manager. So this is Business Manager here, right? So it gives me, and if I click up here, you can see it's got Events Manager, Ads Manager, Catalog Manager, Page Post, Business Settings, Audiences. This is where if you have somebody else that runs your social media and you want to invite them in, this is where you give them access to it. You can do it all through here, guys. It's a kind of a one-stop shop that Facebook, as everything evolved, realized that they had to start using, they had to start driving people into one spot and keeping everything organized. And the weirdest thing about it is, as much as they've created it, they've done a terrible job actually promoting it. It's actually difficult to find. It's not intuitive on how you find it. So this is Ads Manager. Okay, it's a ton. I get it. It's super overwhelming in here. The good news is, if you haven't used it, it won't look like this for you. You won't have lots of different options for different people and things like that. Okay. There's all kinds of toys in here. What I really want to start doing though in here is, this is where we can create. Okay, and as it loads slowly, it's always the beauty of doing this live, is you try not to crash everything. So what it's going to do is, it's going to give me some options here. What do I want to create? It's going to give you a couple options for how to create ads as well. You can do a guided creation, or you can do what's called a quick creation. Okay. If you are creating in here, this is an ad, not a post that will become an ad. Yes, Amanda, right now what we're doing is we are creating ads. We are not necessarily boosting posts. If the next question, which often comes, is which one is better? Either. Quite frankly, it depends what your goals are. Okay. Now, quick creation, gang, is exactly what it says. It's one page. You save it to draft and you start publishing it. So this is a campaign versus an ad set. Okay, so several ads that run together versus simply a new ad. I'm not going to run through all of it. I will say, for most of us, quick creation is where we want to exist. Guided creation is when you are really want to get in depth. It goes step by step through many options and many questions. Grants for Facebook ads. I'm not sure, Tracy, if that's still available or not, to be perfectly honest with you. So in here is where you start. So you pick, do I want traffic? Do I want brand awareness? Very similar, right? Do I want to have app installs, video views, lead generation, post engagement, page likes, right? What am I looking to get, right? So what am I looking to do, right? Buying type. Really, guys, auction is all you care about. Don't worry too much about how the buying type works. Unless you really want to get into complicated bids and things like that. It's not something that you need to get into. Okay. An A/B test. So what's an A/B test? Well, here, let's see if it'll pop up if I hover over it. I clicked on it, so we're going to grind for a second, but quite frankly, so here's an A/B test. Test existing campaigns and experiments. So you can see what you want, which one does better. So I want to test my creative. I have two awesome photos, two awesome items that are both going on sale as part of my big June blowout, for example. And I want to see which one gets better traction. Is it the picture of the sofa versus the picture of the chair? Is it the shoes versus the dress? Is it the hamburger versus the steak? What do I want to see, right? I can test different audiences, so I can run the same creative against two different audiences. So I want to see, does that picture of the car do better with 18 through 35 or do better with 35 through 50? We can start doing all this. And this is where it gets, again, I don't want to say complicated, okay? But I do want to say this is where it gets really involved. A/B tests I would get into if you really want to start diving deep into this stuff. Otherwise, keep your A/B tests off, and you can just start creating your ads in here. This is quick creation ads, okay? So again, I'm not going to go through it all, and I apologize, because there are so many variables in here, guys. This is really a spot that you start playing. You just start trying some things, okay? It gives you, look at this, cost per result, right? Per post engagement, per 1,000 people reached. All of this is over here. It gives you the reports. If you're confused by it, reach out to us and we will help you walk your way through some of this stuff, okay? It's really interesting what you can do in here. This is all what I will call top of funnel advertising though. This is about reaching people and getting your brand out in front of a certain demographic. So how do I know who my people are that I want to reach? If I go back to my first page here, I'm canceling my ad, I'm confirming. I want to show you a little button that you may or may not have looked at that's going to tell you all kinds of things about who's currently following you on Facebook. Insights. Insights is where you get to break down who's actually following your page right now. So if you're not sure, you're going, Toby, this is all great. Demographic, sorry, I'm assuming you're saying this is all great. You might not. But demographics and all that stuff is super valuable, and I understand why I want, but I don't even know where to begin. Start here on Insights. This is where you can find out who's actually following your page. How old are they? Where are they located? Males versus females. And you can start breaking down some of that information. And that's really, really interesting and valuable to get going. As you can see, this one hasn't been designed for the new Facebook yet, so it's grinding. It's all in here, guys. It's under your manage page. It's Insights. Go take a peek, okay? I want to move on to audiences quickly. So audiences are where we get into some really, again, really, really interesting things. So let's assume we've spent, as we did at Cats Cove, 25 bucks, right? We reached 5,000 people. And so we have 5,000 people that we've reached, and 173 of them engaged with our page in some capacity. And I'm thinking that's amazing, because 173 people that took the time to read our post, to click on the graphics that were created, those are the people that we really want to talk to. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to start thinking about creating an audience. So I'm going to create, in this case, a custom audience, okay? So connect with people who have already shown an interest in your business or product. We can do a lookalike audience. So this is a really, really cool feature as well, okay? New people who are similar to the audiences you already care about. So literally, we can say, I got 1,000 people that already like my page. Facebook knows enough about them that they can say, here's another 1,000 people that are like the 1,000 people, right? And they can say, why don't you run it to these people? So if you see here, what I did, right, I started playing with lookalike audiences, and they've got 240,000 people ready to go, ready for me to advertise to. And they say those 240,000 people are people that are similar to those of you that already like Cats Cove Communications, okay? I saw something pop up in the chat. I'm not ignoring you. I just wanted to get through that. And also my chat's not really coming up very quickly right now. So bear with me. I'll go custom audience here, folks. And hopefully this will load relatively quickly. And this is interesting because this is where Facebook starts telling you really what they know about you. If you thought it was scary before, this is how you can create a custom audience. So you can use, let's just use your sources, for example. So let's say you're the person who's collecting an email list and has been for years. And yeah, you email people and you've got your MailChimp and you've got all that. But your newsletter opens are going down. You can take that customer list and you can upload it into Facebook, and you can start using that information. You can start using your sources like your website, right? And that's from your Facebook pixel. We'll get to that. So people that have visited your website, that have gone there from an ad you ran on Facebook, and maybe they didn't do anything. Maybe they just went to your website. But you now know that they're there, and you can remarket to them. So you ever wonder how you end up with a Facebook ad for that pair of shoes that you left in checkout, that you abandoned your cart when you were shopping? And you ever wonder why those shoes pop back up? Because that person, that company, has a pixel installed, either through their e-commerce app or through just their website in general. They know you were there. They know that you left it. So they show them to you again. That's the idea. You can use Facebook sources. You can use lead forms or videos, right? So an audience of people who watched one of your videos on Facebook or Instagram, people that interacted with one of your events, people who are interacting with your Instagram profile. So you know that the people on Instagram are different than the people on Facebook. You know that they're following you differently. But you can start targeting on Facebook to those people. Or in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to keep it really simple. Okay, so we're going to go to Facebook page. And I want to interact with people. I want to create an audience based around people who have done something with my Facebook page. So that's a different page that we manage. So we'll just move off of that. We are going to use Team McCabe later as part of the Pixel conversation. So include people who meet any of the following criteria or all of the following criteria. Totally up to you. But I want anyone who's visited my page, engaged with a post or an ad, who clicked on a call to action button, who sent a message, who saved my page or a post. These are all things that, listen, Facebook keeps this information. Facebook knows this stuff, right? And we can go back within the last year and do all this. Are ads more expensive than posts? Yes. Do ads need to be more expensive than boosting posts, Marilyn? No, not at all. You get to pick your budget. It's not uncommon to run an ad for $3, $4, $5 a day. Just understand $3, $4, $5 a day is going to reach half as many people as, you know, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 a day, right? That's the idea. It's not more expensive unless you want it to be more expensive. But so this is the really interesting part about retargeting here, guys, when you create a custom audience on your Facebook page. So I want anyone that's engaged with my page or visited my Facebook page in the last, 365 days, for example, right? I'm not going to run it here, guys, but you can see I'm not running it only because it takes a minute. It takes a while to populate, and it's not because so many people visited our page. It's just scanning 365 days worth of data, okay? Here's something that's always important, and I encourage you all, when you're in Facebook, check out stuff like show tips, okay? Facebook is very interested in helping you. Very simple, right? So make sure that you do this, right? So pretty interesting stuff to think about the people that visited your page in the last 365 days. Maybe because they saw an ad, maybe because they happened across you, maybe because it was a one-time thing. You can retarget them. You can create an audience specifically around them. And what the nice thing about that is it could be 6 months later and suddenly, let's say you're seasonal, and you can really start driving your stuff back in front of them as soon as that time pops back up. It's pretty impressive what you can end up doing with these custom audiences here. So we're going to go back as well. So again, we can do our Instagram business profile. We can use our website. We can do a customer list, where really all you're doing in any of these situations is providing Facebook with the data that you already have available if it's your sources, or you can use any of their sources. So if I go video, and we wait, but you'll get an idea, right? What they're going to do is they're going to bring up anything that we could, any videos that we have, and they're going to say, here are the people that have interacted with your videos. Now we got a small following at Cats Cove, right? I shouldn't say a small following. We have a following at Cats Cove, but with 700, 800 people that follow your page, not everyone watches your video. Not everyone interacts with your video. You can see we're just frozen here, so we're just going to go back. Not everyone interacts with your video. So again, you want to pay attention to what that is, right? Now, I don't know how many of us have Facebook Pixel installed on our, okay, first of all, sorry. I want to make sure as well, because what you can do through all of this, as I said, is you can start advertising on Instagram. And guys, you can actually advertise on Instagram through the ad manager in Facebook, as long as you are connected. Okay, connecting your Facebook and Instagram business account is very simple to do. But first of all, the big stumbling block is not everyone's set up with an Instagram business account. So we've got some screenshots here. Follow my green arrows. And these are your 4 steps to ensure that you are set with a business account. Okay. Quite simply, this is the opportunity to ensure that you can then advertise on Instagram. If you are still set as a personal account, that's fine. They just don't let you advertise. Okay. So with Instagram ads as well, before we get into the Facebook pixel information, because I know that we want to talk about this, as you know, right, Instagram's desktop functionality is limited compared to its mobile. So what I want to do is I want to go through some of these conversations here. So let's go to Ads Manager and you select Create. Okay, you choose your objective, you select Continue. It's all very simple. You fill in the details for your ad set, just as we've done, right? At the placement section, you select Manual Placement and you select Instagram. Similar to what I did in Boost, where I selected Instagram, you're just doing it from Ads Manager, okay? If you select automatic placements, that's fine as well, because as long as your Instagram account is connected, you will also run ads there. The beauty of Facebook, and this is something that I want to mention now, the beauty of Facebook is they're very interested in you doing well. Because if you do well and your $25 accomplishes what you want, guess what you're going to do? You're going to spend more money with them. So they will try everything. They will try Instagram ads and Facebook ads for you. And then they'll tell you, hey, look, you did really well over here. So we doubled down on Instagram because that's where people were responding. That's where people were really, really getting switched on. So we doubled down on it for you to drive more traffic. They want to give you the best value for your ads. Something else that I want to mention, we all have heard of the Facebook algorithm. The algorithm is your friend, believe it or not. The longer you run an ad, and it doesn't mean you have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but the longer you run an ad, the more people you get that in front of. The more you get it in front of, the more it learns. So we ran an ad for a client recently, and it was a 10-day ad, okay? After 7 days, it was doing okay. And it was interesting because we did an A, B, and C test. So we had three different versions of the ad, all trying to drive to the same place, to the same website. And after 7 days, ad B was significantly ahead. After 10 days, ad C was significantly ahead, because what it did is it learned. And it understood, oh, actually, okay, so this is the demographic that's responding to ad C. What happens if I put this in front of more of this narrow niche? Because we said 18 to 65, and Facebook said, right, but really it's 48 to 57. And then they started doubling down. And we ended up driving traffic there for about 11 cents a click, because Facebook learned. It was 20 cents a click at the beginning, which, don't get me wrong, isn't a lot of money. But if Facebook learned, give your ads time. Don't run them for 3 days and be frustrated when it didn't work, because you haven't given it enough time to learn, unless you know exactly who you want to run it to, okay? Okay, last thing that I want to cover here, guys, because we're coming up on about 45 minutes here, is what's called the Facebook Pixel. So the Facebook Pixel is code. Do not be intimidated by the word code, but it is code that you place on your website. It collects data that helps you track conversions from Facebook ads, optimizes ads, builds targeted audiences for future ads, and remarkets to people who have already taken some kind of action on your website. So again, when I talk about why these shoes keep popping up in your Facebook feed, probably because of the pixel. It says it's code, and it is. And if you feel so inclined, you are welcome to go take that code and manually insert it into your website. However, if you're built on pretty well any of the traditional content management system platforms, any of the Wixes, Weebly's, WordPresses, Squarespaces, so on and so forth, Facebook understands that you probably aren't necessarily a coder. So it actually walks you through step by step. I know on Wix is, you go to marketing integrations, you say connect the Facebook pixel, you copy the numeric code in, and you say connect, and you're done. And that's effectively all you have to do to connect it to your sites that way. If you don't want to do it that way, you can get into your business manager. And the beauty of Facebook is it understands you might not want to do it. And it says, here, send this in an email to the person that's going to do this for you. Literally hands off. They give you all the instructions. You send it to whomever's going to do it. They take care of it at that point. It's pretty cool that way. So let's take a look at the Facebook Pixel very quickly. So Facebook Pixel, if you're ever wondering where it is in Events Manager. So again, if we go back over here, right, with all of our fun stuff, and some of you have seen Catalog Manager and stuff like that when we did our online selling webinar as well, but it's in Events Manager, okay? So we're gonna click on Events Manager. In this case, as I said, we're under now Team McCabe, because this is an active one that we currently have going for local realtors here who are trying to drive traffic to a website or to their website in order to sell a property. You can see that I'm active, I'm connected, okay? And what I'm going to do, if I am just gonna drag my window out of the way here, I'm going to go to set up new event. You'll see there, it says install Pixel. Once you've created the Pixel, and again, you create it in Facebook, this is where they walk you through what you need to do. So I can go to set up events. This is manually add your event code if you want, if you're so inclined. If you're not so inclined, use Facebook's event setup tool. We're going to enter the website. So this is where you simply put in your website, or in this case, teammccabe.ca. You'll see I already have it open here, but we'll let it run through. And so what it's doing is it's connecting to that address. So what it's doing right now is it's ensuring that I've said there's a Pixel installed on that website, and it's just making sure that two are talking. Look at that. That's not going to work now. That's fun. So let's see if it'll work over here. Here it is here. So it's already set up. So maybe that's why. So the cool thing about this, guys, is you get to start creating what they call events. So this is what comes up. So it's your Facebook event setup tool on this website, okay? If I want to track a new button, I click track a new button. Everything on the page lights up, and I tell it what I want to track. So you'll see some of the ones that we created here. So we created a lead event of any time somebody clicks on the word properties, which is in here, it's up here behind here. That's a lead. Anytime somebody clicks on the word contact, anytime somebody clicks on listings down here, these are all things that we've created on this page to track how people interact with the page. So for Team McCabe in this case, what we're going to be able to do is market their future listings on Facebook to anyone who has interacted on the listings or property button here. So if you're not a real estate agent, that's fine. So you're retail, traditional retail, and you have a website and it simply says store, checkout, could be anything that you have on there, even just contact us, how to find us, anything along those lines. You can start setting up events. So when people are on your website, what they interact with and how they interact with your page, think of it like tagging their ear. So what you do is you then say, okay, so I've tagged you. Now I know that I can reach back out to you when I want to do so. And this is how it works. So, I mean, again, you see where it's got checks, right? So under here is listings or properties, under here is listings. And if I scroll down, right, I could set it up for any of these things. Start now, home renovation resources. So when people are clicking on home renovation resources and I want to then target an ad on 7 tips to get your home in tip-top shape before you sell, that would be how I would target that ad. It's a really in-depth retargeting tool. I'm not expecting that all of us are going to be jumping at this. I want to be very, very clear. This is kind of the next level of I've got years of people that are coming to my site, and this is how you manage it. And then when you go back to Ads Manager or create audiences, right? Where was it? Was it here? Where did my audiences go? Yeah, I've somehow closed out my audiences. It was one of these. But when you go back to create audiences, okay, and it said use your resources, use your resources means your website. You literally get to say everyone who clicked on contact me in the last 365 days, and that's what the pixel does for you. So that's how it tracks that stuff. It's a pretty impressive little tool that way, guys. It takes a minute to set it up, but like all good things, it's hard at the beginning and it pays off for months, if not years afterwards. It's not, Facebook Pixel is not about selling tomorrow. Facebook Pixel is about retargeting. So if you're in the business of somebody buys something every 5 years and they may have been on your website, for example, I would say if my wife and I, Kathy and I, we just bought a new washer dryer. If they had a pixel on their website, they should be targeting us every time there's a sale for any kind of appliance, knowing that every 5 or 10 years you have to replace an appliance. That would be how I would do it that way. Okay. So guys, here's what we've kind of covered. Okay. Running Facebook and Instagram ads to target our new customers. So that's just the boost button, right? That's taking that post that you've already created, that message you've already created, and you're going to target new customers. You're going to expand that reach beyond your 500, 700, 1,200, 5,000 people that already follow your page, okay? We're also going to create custom, I thought I fixed that, custom audiences based on how people interact with your pages. So we can then start creating custom audiences. So when you run your $25 ad to get 5,000 new people to follow you, or just to see your page on Facebook, you now know that you can retarget that group of people with the people that actually interacted and clicked on your link. So you don't have to target the 4,800 people that didn't follow your resource or didn't click on it. You now get to narrow it down to the 200 people. And of those 200 people, if 10 of them clicked and went through to your website, you can actually start using Facebook Pixel to retarget them as well. This is in depth, I'm aware. This is a lot of information. And frankly, the scary thing is we didn't get into a lot of it. And I'm also aware of that, folks, okay? But this is how to get started. So the first thing, back to the handshake agreement, the first thing that I would love everyone to do is take a post that they created and boost it. But don't just boost it to within 25 miles of you. Play with that audience a little bit. Give it a week to run. And our concern is always, I don't want to be in the feed more than I need to be. You won't be. Remember, the algorithm will determine whether or not people see it. They won't see it multiple times if they don't interact with it, if they're not interested in it, okay? So the challenge that I want from you guys is I want you to boost something. 25 bucks, $5 a day for 5 days. Grab your most popular post and do it. For those of us that have been selling online, that have just moved online, and I know there's lots of us that are here right now that have recently created a new website and we're now selling online. We're starting into e-commerce. Think about that. Think about driving people to that website. And then imagine being able to drive people to your website and having the pixel set up so that you know everyone that checked out your website and you can save them for later, because it might be the wrong time for them to buy whatever it is, but it will be the right time in 6 months and you can continue to target them, right? As well as you drive people to your Facebook page and your Instagram page, realize that you can interact with them and only them, only the people that are interacting on your page that way, okay? So you're gonna drive traffic through social media without spending big bucks. It's really simple. That's what we're gonna do, okay? And I know some of you have seen this graphic already. I just like the picture of me pointing to my temple that way. I don't get to pretend that I know much very often. Remember, my daughter taught herself to ride her own bike yesterday, so I'm living vicariously here. So, guys, thanks. It's been an hour, believe it or not. So thanks so much. follow us here on social. We don't have our YouTube up there, okay? We are going to send you to our YouTube channel to check some of this stuff out. The good news is, guys, if you missed any of the other stuff that we did, whether it was just getting online, creating your own website, setting up your Google My Business profile, any of that stuff, all of those videos are currently housed on our YouTube channel. So it's an opportunity to go through all of that stuff, right? Setting up e-com and stuff like that. Okay. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate your time today. If you have any questions, this is the best way to get in touch with us. Okay. Most importantly, because Sasha has that cell phone, which means she's bored. Okay. So feel free to call and talk to Sasha. If you have any questions, guys, reach out. We get it. We know what this time is like right now. Our goal is to help. So thanks again. Hope to hear from all of you soon. Take care, everybody.